Rock Sugar Magic is brought to you by Florida Boy Inc. If you like Duck Dynasty or Swamp People, you'll love what Florida Boy has cooking up. It's Florida Boy INC, Florida Boy Inc. on Instagram. Head over there and tell them we sent you. John Orlando.
Yes.
Welcome to not only your studio, but Rock Sugar Magic.
Thank you.
Yeah, you own Sticky Paws.
I know, crazy, right?
It's so awesome here. Good lighting, good lighting.
Thank you.
You know? Love the purple.
Yeah, the lighting's got to be right.
I love what you did with the plate.
Thank you. Yeah, I can take no credit. The gang does this. I have nothing to do with it.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to ask you how you got into this, but you know, first of all, I call you up. I'm like, let's talk about what it's like to have famous dads.
Yeah, we understand this.
Yes.
Me and you. Yeah.
Tony Orlando.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still performing.
He just retired a month ago.
Oh, he'll be back.
He'll be back. I agree. He'll be back.
Yeah,
what's he going to do? What is there to do?
How old is he?
80.
He's too
Maybe
young.
He's done.
No,
No, he's still young. All right.
I watched a film not that long ago. If I'm not in the obit, I'll eat breakfast or something like that. It's about people like that are in their hundreds or their late 90s still working. Every day.
I get it.
80s
will be like that.
That's 20 years from,
Yeah, because like what else is there to do? You can't just sit and flip channels all day, right?
Yeah,
you got to do something.
You have to. I think when people really just retire and they don't go on to something else, it's kind of like it means to the end. Like,
I agree.
no
and I think
purpose,
the end comes
nothing.
sooner when you do that, right?
Yeah, statistically, it does.
Yeah. Oh, really? That is an actual thing?
When people quit, they kind of go downhill. If they quit and there's something else they're doing, or there's a purpose or whatever,
right.
They tend to live longer.
You have to have purpose.
You have to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be taking care of your grandkids, or you could be whatever, taking care of a farm. You just having a purpose, not sitting there and watching TV, eating chocolates and smoking.
Right.
Like my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting. What are some crazy stories? I have a couple. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the craziest stories that you have?
Well, it's interesting. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't think I actually appreciated my dad's fame in my early years. I don't mean I was unhappy with it. I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't appreciate it. Like, now when I meet people, like, I was at not to sound like so Hollywood, but like we were at Adam Sandler's holiday party, the Happy Madison party. Yeah. Like, this is probably 9 years ago. And Adam's really into music. So he puts together like an all-star jam every year, and he'll have like, literally from Flavor Flav to Vanilla Ice to Stevie Wonder's drummer to, right? And so Tom Morello was there from Rage, right? And my dad was talking to somebody at the party, and I'm literally taking pics of my dad talking to whoever he's talking to, just to have. Yeah. And Tom Morello ends up right next to me, and I hear him say, "Oh my God, that's Tony Orlando." I was like, can I swear in here? No. I was like, holy shit, Tom Morello knows who my dad is? Like, that's just the coolest thing. And like, that happened with like Tommy Lee and like Billy Bob Thornton, like all these cool people that I've always like loved, watching what they do. And when you see how they respond to my dad, like later in life, like I didn't get it when I was little. Like I didn't get it. I don't know if that was like that for you.
I mean, I got it. I got that he was famous when he came to my second grade class and he gave flip books on how cartoons work. So everybody got a flip book and, showed how a cartoon would work. Then he started doing his voices, right?
Yeah.
And when he did Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, yes, my dad was, there we are. Yes, my dad was Shaggy on Scooby-Doo. A lot of you don't know that, and some of you do, but they freaked out.
Yeah.
It was like the coolest thing ever. And then, he was in Transformers, Josie and the Pussycats. He was Robin on Batman and Robin.
Yep.
So he was doing this, and then it was like, wow. That was second grade where I really understood it. But I'm in Beverly Hills where everybody has a famous mom or dad.
Sure.
I mean, it's so prevalent, or they're, very rich or whatever it is.
Right.
They
and there's always someone more famous and more rich.
And so it wasn't that big of a deal growing up in Beverly Hills. Right? I mean, even when I moved to the Valley, here I am like, Adria Petty was my best friend for years, and, her dad was Tom Petty. So I mean, the first time I ever, played, not the first time, It was the first time I ever did that guitar that was like the double
Sure.
guitar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like playing with all of his guitars and his instruments in his studio. We're writing the dumbest songs. I mean, literally, we're on his guitar writing a song called Butt Chips. I'm not kidding you. I never even talked about this before. Oh my God, I remember that. Adrian would like hold she would do the chords and I would strum it and we would sing this butt chips, B-U-T, B-U-T, chips, chips, chips.
Sounds like a hit. No, it sounds like that's a chart topper.
I can't believe I'm remembering this. Butt chips. You can see them in your panty, but they're also up your fanny.
It's a good lyric. I mean, it's...
I can't believe I'm even remembering this.
When did you abandon your writing career?
Oh my gosh, I know. We had so many. We wrote so many dumb songs. It was on Tom Petty's freaking guitars. And I'll tell you something, and I've said this before, but when you're a kid, this is what I didn't appreciate because we saw it all the time.
Yeah.
We're there, and the traveling Wilburys are there, right? And I'm like, ew, old guys, right? That's what I'm thinking. You know, it's like they're legends.
That's Roy Orbison,
George Harrison,
right.
You know,
Tom,
and there's who else was it? There was somebody else, but Annie Lennox was there.
Yeah,
and I got to meet like all these people, but it was.
It's just my dad's old friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you grow up and you go, oh my.
I know.
God.
Like I have no photos of I've met probably like you. Every famous person you can imagine.
Yeah.
I have no photos of them because I was like camera shy. I wasn't that guy.
Well, my dad wouldn't take us to the parties. We were not, he kept us out of there. I would meet people through people I would go to school with.
Okay.
My dad we couldn't get tickets to anything. He said, don't ever ask for favors. Don't ever ask me for free tickets. He could get tickets to any concert.
But he wanted you to grow up. Yeah, I get it. I like that.
Didn't go to parties, and he kept us out of the
And that's why you turned out like this.
Probably.
Yeah. I remember two memories of like when I realized my dad was famous. So we're at Disneyland. I'm like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm standing in line to take a photo with Mickey Mouse. What felt like forever. It felt like hours, but it was probably 20 minutes or something. I don't even know. And I get to the front of this line. And it wasn't for Mickey Mouse. It was an autograph line formed from my dad because this is like in 73, 74. So this is the peak of Yellow Ribbon, you know, and so, but I didn't know, like I in my head, I was like, oh, Mickey Mouse. Like I just jumped in this line and my mom's like off to the side. And I don't know why I thought it was Mickey Mouse. I didn't know what I was talking about. And I get to the front and I literally started crying because it wasn't Mickey Mouse. I was like, oh, it's him, you know?
No.
So that was like the first one. And then another one, like a few years later, I remember we were in New York. I think he was performing at Madison Square Garden with Dawn, with the two girls.
Sure.
And I think we came out of like into a back alley or whatever out of MSG and into a limo. And, you know, the fans find out where you're leaving from, whatever. So like they're all out there. And they started like he took some pictures. My dad was very gracious, you know, so he'd take photos and stuff.
Like mine, yeah.
And they were like, I remember they were rocking the limo, like these they wanted more photos, and I just started crying because it's scary. Like you're 4 or 5 years old, 3, 4, 5, whatever you are, you know, and you're sitting there going, oh my God, this limo is about to turn over, and like he got out and he's kind of mad at first, you know, calm them down, but we sat there for like 2 hours while he took every single photo and signed whatever he had to sign.
That's exactly what my dad did.
Yeah.
Always. And if he couldn't, he's like, if they didn't have a camera and they wanted a picture, they would write down the address. And every time he'd go home,
that's amazing.
Sign a picture and send it.
That's so rare.
Every time. It was, he loved people.
Yeah.
He really, truly did. And he was so like gracious.
Yeah.
And reverent of his fans.
Yeah. And that's that generation too, right? Of stardom and fame. I don't feel like it. Maybe I'm just disconnected to it now, but I don't feel like that's how it is now.
I'm sure there are people that are like that.
Sure.
But you know, it is a different time.
Yeah.
It is a different time. My dad was he really loved his fans, and he really loved people. And going to a radio convention, he took hours like that, just hours to get out.
Yeah.
And my God, Dad pulling on his leg, and he's talking, somebody else stops him, and it was like, you know, it just took forever.
Yeah.
Right? Took forever. But he just, I think his kindness was very, very important to him, to be kind. And he always told us that. If you can be anything, be kind.
That's so crazy you just said that.
Rock Sugar Magic is brought to you by Tequila Comisario. Elevate your tequila experience with award-winning Tequila Comisario. Crafted with 100% all-natural agave, it's handcrafted and known to create tequila connoisseurs. Tequila Comisario is one of only 6 tequilas in the world to receive the coveted Platinum Award. Experience the best tequila in the world. Tequila Comisario.
My mother passed away last December from dementia. And that's so crazy you just said that. If you go to the very first photo on my Instagram that's pinned on the top left, it's a photo of me and my mom, like the day after that she passed. And I was just writing about her, whatever. And one of the things I said that she like drilled into my head from as young as I can remember was be kind.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had good parents.
Yeah, for sure.
We really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dementia sucks.
Oh, God, it's awful.
I did a whole thing on it, with Dr. Mary Newport about, how to end and reverse Alzheimer's. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously any form of anything, all that stuff sucks as heart disease, along with there's a million things that are awful, but I really do think this is a special version of awful because watching someone deteriorate before your eyes that was once super witty, super smart, and sharp and, sarcastic, and like my mom was all of the above, and like to watch it just slowly go away, and them realize something's different, but they don't know what, and she would just say like, "Oh, I'm stupid now. I can't find my words."
So that's how I feel. Like with Lyme disease, when my brain started doing that to me. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is so scary. Like I still have that. I'll still have like these moments of. Like, I feel like cognitive impairment because I can't, I'm thinking of words that I've used and I can't get them out.
So frustrating.
It scares me.
Yeah.
Really scares me because I have the MTHFR gene, which means that I don't process certain things, food, right? And certain things can lead up like cardiovascular disease and stroke and all this awful stuff that comes with it. Yeah. So I'm handling that and taking care of that. But when my brain starts to do that, I'll know if my brain is working that day or if it's not. Yeah. And it is so hard to do talk radio when your brain is like that. And I bet. Yeah, I can fake it well enough, but it scares me. So I know what it feels like because I got a lot of my memory back and a lot of my my brain back. Yeah, but having that for so long and then having it deteriorate your brain is scary.
Yeah. Especially as you get older, like it's just like it's so weird how we sound now like how our parents sounded, and I would be like, what are they talking about? Like but now I get it.
True. It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. And you met my dad, right?
Oh, tons of times. So cool. I was a huge fan of your dad. I remember he was my morning drive. He was my, hearing the America's Top 40, we've all tried to do our bad impressions of him. Like, your dad was a legend. I mean, he's just like my child. It's like, there's a handful of celebrities that like Fonzie is one of them for me, your dad, like, it's like, that's just like when I think of those years, it's like it's your dad is like such a big piece of it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, Tony Orlando, I've known that name since I was born, like literally since the 70s. I was born in 72, right? Yeah. I just known Tony Orlando is still famous now. That doesn't happen. Right. It just really doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
It's so hard.
Your dad, to have that, he's a living legend.
Yeah, thank you.
My dad would get that, and he would turn to me, he's like, did you hear that? Yeah. He called me a legend. And he was always so surprised about that. Yeah. Like, Dad, you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody's been able to do what you've done.
Yeah. And I love how sometimes you can randomly be watching a movie. I can't think of any of them right now, but like sometimes in the background, like the voice? He's in a scene.
Ghostbusters.
Right. Oh, right. Totally.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very
I
true.
love
They're
that.
talking about him or in a book.
Yep.
Oh, I just was reading this and your dad's in it. Or it's so cool. Yeah.
And you can still hear him on Sirius XM.
And the shows do very well.
Yeah, I bet.
Very, very well.
Yeah, it's because it's like a trip down memory lane. But with him, it's like extra special because you just remember those times. Like I remember those broadcasts. Like, yeah.
And also games. Your dad and my dad, they're in games. Like
Trivial Pursuit and stuff like that.
And everything. Yeah. Which is very cool.
Category on Jeopardy, all that. Yeah.
Have you ever heard somebody talking about your dad when they didn't know who you were?
Oh, many times. Good and bad.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's weird. How do you treat it when it's bad?
Well, I remember I was in a car. I was in 5th or 6th grade, and it was my friend Shannon's birthday. And this is Kadada Jones was there. It was me, Kadada Jones, Shannon, and 2 or 3 other girls.
Yeah.
And one of the girls, we were in a station wagon, and one of the girls was in the back, and I'll never forget this. And somebody had brought up my dad's name, and this girl didn't know me. She's like, yeah, he's gay. Okay. I remember, really? Where'd you hear that? That's what I said. Like, where'd you hear that? Oh, no, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely gay. I'm like, my mom wouldn't think so. Neither would his wife. I mean, I was like, yeah. He's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then they're like, that's his daughter. And they all like, got her. But it was so funny hearing that. I'm like, and it was things like that. Or, gosh, what else have I heard? Or, I'll tell you something. I was interviewing Courtney Love. Uh-huh. And she was pretty tough.
Really?
She wasn't all that, easy to interview. And I remember I go, okay, so this is how it's going to go. And she goes, let me tell you how it's going to go. I'm like,
oh, okay.
And then she found out who my dad was, and it was
put her guard down.
Completely changed.
That's cool.
Completely changed. Yeah. But it's like that happens a lot.
Sure.
And then like cops, I've gotten pulled over. I got pulled over. I was working in, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on it? Right up Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And I was speeding. I was on the 5 and I was speeding, and I was like going over 100 miles an hour. I was probably 110 in my little white Mustang.
Yeah.
And this cop pulls me over. And I was like, I was totally speeding. I was absolutely speeding. He's like, that's refreshing, and he looks up my license and he said, are you related? I'm like, yeah, he's my dad. It's like, and he sat and told me how he was broken down on the side of the road, and he was going to my dad in Thousand Oaks, would give these dances. And my dad pulled over and said, do you need help? And he's like, we're going to your dance. And he helped him and gave him a ride to the dance. And he goes, listen, when I've written the ticket, but when
fight it and I won't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it was like, got me out of tickets.
Yeah.
Got me great interviews.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I never understood a lot of the Hollywood kids that kind of went down the wrong path and they blamed the parents.
Well, I do, because mom and dad gave them everything.
Yeah.
Mom and dad didn't make them work for it. Like my dad we'd say, can we have this? Well, if I buy it for you, you won't take care of it. It'll mean nothing to you. But if you work and you buy it, you'll cherish it. You'll have work ethic.
Yeah.
And that's how my dad was.
Yeah.
Always. And I can see when you're just giving your kid money.
Right.
It's
a recipe for disaster. Yeah. Too much too soon.
There's no exchange back. You're not working for it.
Right.
And that destroys somebody.
Yeah,
Look at our welfare system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you gave money to these people and then said, hey, we're going to give you a little job. You're going to have to like pick up trash. You're going to have to, things would change.
Changes everything.
Changes everything.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's so weird. Like, when you have a famous dad, people also, I'm sure this happened to you, like their perception of you and what your life is not always on point. Like
True.
I have friends that think I'm just like a trust fund baby and I'm this and that, or just strangers that meet me.
Always.
It's like, dude, it's not even like, I wish that was like, that would be great. Sign me up.
It's
not the case.
So true. On the internet, I'm worth $20 million.
Right. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to get there. I do believe I'm going to get there. I'm working on things that I want to get there.
Yeah.
And I will get there. And my focus is I'd like to be highly successful.
Yeah.
But I remember people not giving me donations to Kasem Cares, my nonprofit, because they looked me up and I was worth $20 million.
Right. They're like, what do you need the money for? Yeah. I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
You believe that?
Yeah.
Like, really? Wow. Okay. Like you could put anything on the internet about anybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, I made a good living.
Right.
I've worked my whole life. I'm very proud of who I am, what I've become, the things that I've done, and I make a good living, but I'm not asking for money to help the elderly.
Right.
For like, think it's lining my pockets or what?
Yeah.
It's just it was the weirdest thing.
And they also think you can just move yourself forward by can't you just make a call, or when your dad was still alive, right?
Yeah.
Can't your dad just call and like make it happen? And it's like, dude, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Like, are you kidding? Like,
it just doesn't. If people have this like preconceived notion
Right.
of people who are famous or what they can do,
Yeah.
and
Like when I was doing stand-up, I did stand-up for comedy for 10 years. From like 93, I started opening for my dad. And then I used to open for like Tom Jones and Paul Anka and Dionne Warwick and all those people. But like people be like, you should be on a sitcom. Like, can't your dad just get you a sitcom? Like, can't your dad just get you a sitcom? Like, yeah, I wish that would be so easy. Like, oh yeah, my dad will just go, hey, give John a sitcom. Like, what?
What?
Like,
what is
dude.
I mean, it's so weird.
In some ways, it's harder.
And in like my radio career, nobody's going to put me on their talk radio station because my last name is Kasem.
Right.
If I suck, they're not going to be responsible for the, plummeting ratings.
Yeah.
You had to be better than.
Right.
Better than what, it's like, it
But
was
people
very
don't believe,
interesting,
they don't believe that's how it
the
is.
nepotism, right?
Yeah.
Sure, if it was maybe behind the scenes or I got a job that way, but no, you're in front of hundreds of thousands of people when you're on talk radio, especially in Los Angeles.
Right.
Nobody's going to stick you on their station because you have a famous last name.
And I'm not saying it doesn't open doors, but like, do you know how many there's no shortage of famous people that have kids. So it's like, there's always someone more famous, right? It's like,
It's very true.
There's the A list and the A minus list and the A minus list and the B plus list. It's like, come on.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad once, he said, somebody said, oh, you're Kerri Kasem's dad. And when somebody said that, I'm like, I knew I made
That's
it.
hot.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like somebody said that to my dad. I remember when he told me that.
That's really cool.
It was cool.
I have yet to have that. Thanks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. We're not there yet.
Yeah, but you've gone viral several times.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you, actually, I went viral on a unassisted.
That's true.
Yeah, because when I had Dana on, he mentioned that you were the one that introduced him to Gary Brecka, and he said he had 10.4 years to live or whatever it was, and 9 million views later.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was crazy.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
and then Gary Brecka changed my life too, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and you look fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah,
very
30,
healthy,
35
very
pounds.
Good. Wow.
I didn't even think I needed to lose 35 pounds. It's like until you go through it, you don't realize.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and I didn't have like a goal or anything.
And your girlfriend's like now you guys kind of
she's
match.
like a little superhero.
Yeah,
it's
she's
crazy.
Ripped.
Yeah.
Ripped.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah.
You guys now look, you kind of match now.
Now it's better. Yeah. Before I was looking like the before picture, like what's she doing with him? The old chubby guy. And
you were never.
I had chipmunk face though going, Carrie.
You look so much younger now.
Thank you.
Crazy.
Yeah.
From a year ago, you look so much younger.
I took a photo with Dana. Actually, it's like the second picture on my Instagram that's pinned of the before after, because like when he was on the podcast, we both, he was only 4 months in with Gary Brecka when he did my podcast. And so the photo, and then I was like, last 1 year to the date, I took another pic with Dana and posted that just to show the difference. It's drastic.
It's
both of us.
I know. It's
drastic.
Incredible.
It's crazy when you cut out. And the other thing is like, it shockingly was easy. If you cut out the sugar, obviously I went keto, but like, even if you don't want to go that hard, if you just cut out sugar, bread, and fried foods.
That's right. The no white diet. I've called that for 30 years, 25 years. The no white diet. So no flour, no sugar, anything that's white to begin with, unless it's coconut or something. Yeah, fresh. No, get it out.
Melts off of you.
Yeah. Sodas, fried food, cereals.
I was all of the above.
Yeah, get off of that, and you don't have to do anything else except do that. You will lose weight.
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely miss crushing a box of Frosted Flakes on a Sunday. No good? All right, fine, but whatever. Fine.
Makes me sick.
No?
Makes me sick. I don't do sugar. I haven't done sugar in almost 20 years.
Do you miss anything?
No, if I feel like it, I'll have a Zevia. Or I'll have, now they make stuff with stevia and monk fruit and everything. So if I feel like it, I do. But my candy is fruit, because I couldn't eat fruit for 10 years with Lyme.
Yeah.
So, and Candida and all this other stuff that came with it. But now,
Candida, which was also a Tony Orlando hit.
Really?
Fun fact. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So strange. Yeah.
That is really funny.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
there you go.
You're awesome. I just
Thank you.
I'm like, we're here.
Yeah,
You're
this
here.
is great.
Let's do this.
No, I love it. I love it. I really appreciate it. And we love having you here.
It's so fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really
and
great
anybody
at it.
else who wants to, anybody here will put there we go. Anybody else who wants, you're in Vegas, you want to do a podcast, this place rocks. It really is.
Come to Sticky Paws.
Yeah,
Come on.
Sticky Paws.
Do it.
Sticky Paws. Do it.
There you go.
Do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.